You're listening to Optimal Fusion, a Shin Megami Tensei podcast.
I'm Austin, and I'm familiar with Shin Megami Tensei.
I'm Patrick, and I'm not familiar with Shin Megami Tensei.
And in this podcast, we'll discuss our playthrough of the newest SMT game,
Shin Megami Tensei V,
for the Nintendo Switch. Good evening, Patrick. How many Shin Megamis have you tensei'd since the last time we gathered?
I have gotten to what is the second area of the game, or I don't know what to call it. There's more than the second nether region.
Oh, the second nether region, huh?
Second netherworld area.
The second dot map.
Yeah. So I am there. So I think shout out / thanks to Dan DCD, who gave us a nice suggestion, gave us some nice words actually, as well as a nice suggestion to structure the show, since we were like discussing how we don't know how to structure this. So Dan suggested that, it might be good to record episodes based on completing areas, and then we could talk about the whole area, as there's kind of one big arc to each area. And I think that's great. We didn't know how the game was going to shape up to be, but now that we know that, and that I think Dan is ahead of us and can provide that insight. So we're going to do that. And also I want to a shout out to somebody else in the Switch Heads community, and that's Donnie, who has now lapped me twice in this game. I think he's on his third playthrough.
That is wild to me that people are on their second and third playthroughs already.
Donnie, who listens to this, is on their third.
Good job, Donnie. I'm proud of you.
I'm sure I'll say this for him, because I'm sure he would say this. Well, he played New Game Plus or whatever, where you can like keep your level, and so he just ran through the second one.
I see.
And then I think he's doing a clean hard now or something like that.
Okay,
if that makes sense. I think. Or there's like multiple ways that you can do this New Game Plus, and one of them is called like Reborn, or there's like, I don't know, I forget the terminology because I haven't seen any of this. I think it's something like Reborn, or
I saw this really quick and I looked away because I didn't want to spoil, but I think you're right. I think there's two ways to restart. One kind of keeps your stuff, and one knows that it's a new game but kind of starts you back at the beginning for realsies.
Yeah. So anyway, that impresses me too, because like I haven't gotten that far. But anyway, I just wanted to mention those, and I'm sure there are other people who've given us nice comments too. But yeah.
And so I have my Switch up right now, and I'm looking at the map. So we will be talking about the Minato section, and kind of finishing up what that section looks like, how the story ends there, and then kind of the return to normal Tokyo section that follows. And then next episode we will go into Shinagawa section and kind of explore that area together.
Yes. So well, one thing that people might be wondering, if you listen to our last episode, is if I changed it from casual to normal. And I did. I changed it from casual to normal because I felt ashamed. And then I died a bunch, like pretty frustratingly, to the point where I was like, I don't know if I want to play on normal.
Oh, shit.
And I thought, I'll stick with it. But I think I accidentally was still on casual, because when you die, you go back to your last save. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I was like, I'm doing great on this. Never mind. And then at some point I realized it was still on casual. And so I knocked it up to normal, and I'm doing okay.
Okay.
But I haven't had a major fight since. Or I know I've had maybe one or two, but
did you bump it before or after Nuwa?
I think after, unknowingly.
Got it.
Because I really thought I was on normal because of the resets. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I didn't like keep changing it. I changed it like twice or whatever. And after my third death didn't realize it. And anyway, long story short, I am playing on normal now, and I think I'm going to try to stick it out, but I have no shame, even though I just said I was ashamed, and I might just play on casual depending, but I'm on normal.
Got it. So last episode we kind of wrapped up talking about the Tokyo Tower area.
Yes.
I feel like this game really came to life for me once the area past that, which I'm looking at the map right now, is called Kamiyacho. And you kind of get there, and it is like a cityscape, a ruined cityscape. You have some of these little red demons whose names I forget.
Is that what you're talking about?
Where they're like swinging on the poles and stuff.
Right. No, the abscesses are like the red area where you have to go and clear it or whatever.
Yeah, and there are those 3 kind of abscesses in the
that I could not get to. Some of them I couldn't figure it out because of the map. And
tell me more about that. Yeah.
Well, there's 3 of them, and you get to an area where it looks like you're headed towards it, and then it's up on a cliff or something for like all of them, all 3 of them. And I figured out how to get to one of them, and I could not for the life of me figure out the other ones. And I thought, oh, maybe you have to do that later. And then I cleared the area, and then was like, oh, I will have to do it later if I can return. Can you go back?
You can go back.
Okay, good. Because that was one question I've had now that I am in the second area, if I can go back to the first area or
at any of the ley lines, you can use a ley line crossing to go back.
Oh, even from area to area, even though the maps are different or whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't yet to explore that.
And you can even actually return back to we'll get to this in a second, the Tokyo Diet building, like the inside of the
like the real world or whatever, or the not real world. That's the case. Maybe we'll get it. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We need to talk about that. Yeah, when we get there. So I kind of like the idea that you had these 3 abscesses, and it was kind of a non-linear. You had to kind of go out of your way to chase these down. And they also led to the one up on the mountain. You clear that. And then there's a quest that you get that is, as you've been running the map, there are these larger creatures that will just totally destroy you because they are way over leveled for you. And so there's a like killing of they call them the 4 gods of the region or whatever.
I think I may have run into one of those people accidentally when I was one of those deaths I was talking about was like they bumped it. I didn't realize they were there and they bumped into me, and then I was like, fuck normal.
I bet that's right. And then the mermaid quest ends as well up on.
I didn't finish that because I didn't think I could do it, and then left the area. But now that I know I can return, I will do it. And
that demon is one of my favorites. I recently was able to.
You can spoil it for me. I don't care.
Just special. I will just saying I was able to special fuse the demon that is at the end of that mermaid quest.
Okay. That you fight, presumably.
That you fight at the end of that quest. And the design is very pretty.
I am skeptical. I don't think any of these designs are pretty.
Why do you say that?
Well, I think they're cool or interesting, and I guess there's 1 or 2 that are
I think you will find
attractive
this one pretty.
Or whatever, but like most of them are unsettling.
Not this one. This one is purely pretty.
There are some cute ones, I guess, like Jack Frost and the little gnome-looking Japanese guy. Okay, that one's all right.
Anahita.
Yeah, that is more
more like regal than many of the others, right?
Yeah. Well, also kind of another follow-up from the last episode is you were like, oh, you can push the L bumper button and go back to any ley line.
Last ley line, yeah.
Or the last one, yeah. And I was like, no, I can't. And then the next story beat, the exact next story beat after you beat the Hydra and you walk a couple feet is you run into Goko?
Goko, not to be confused with Goku.
Yeah. But maybe you might confuse. I don't know. No. But Goko gives it to you right then. So I immediately got it. Like that night after we recorded.
As soon as we were done.
Yeah. So that's, and also I was like, what? I feel like that, I love this game, but this game does have kind of weird pacing to me in terms of the story elements. Like they introduce all these characters like Goko, and then he's like, well, I'm going to wander off now. And you're like, what? I know you'll come back, but that wasn't much development. It was kind of weird.
It was kind of in and out.
Yeah. I feel that way with some of the way it introduces characters theoretically for a later payoff, but it also feels like, I don't know. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but
okay. Well, so
I've seen Goko again.
Okay.
Once. Because I think later when you come, I don't remember when you see Goko. When you go back to the real, not real world, I think is when.
So after you beat one of the abscesses,
mm-hmm.
There's a big like highway structure, and every now and then I would run on it and I would hear these noises and I didn't quite understand what it was. After you destroy the abscess, there is a giant like bird vulture demon with like a Viking helmet that is flying around the area, and if you are not
I've seen them fly overhead.
Yes, and if you are not undercover, she will swoop down and way over leveled kill your ass.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a side quest where you have to like run up to her nest and destroy her eggs before she gets back.
Oh.
All this to say, I feel like this area is where the like world and the side quests got more interesting.
If you're like me and you thought you couldn't do these until you like was just to me, I couldn't find the path. And so I was like, oh, I probably have to go through the Tokyo Diet building and then I'll get to the path. And then the game just progressed. So I'm not upset about it. I just like, I don't know these things yet.
Things to discover on your second or third
well, I think I'll go back to this area because now that I know this,
Yeah. I just like to teach you. You asked me earlier during our last episode as well about the items from the vending machines, if you should just sell them.
Oh, I've been just selling them.
I have found the one exception is that in this area, after you beat the abscess near the bird I was discussing just now, there's a little cavern area that opens up, and there's 3 demons back there talking about their favorite foods. And if you bring them their favorite foods, they will give you one of them was like a talisman reward. Gotcha. So
the good news about that though is all those vending machines restock.
Yeah.
Somebody's out there working hard in post-apocalyptic Tokyo restocking vending machines.
dedicated to their craft. That is
good. Well, what about the third abscess, or is there anything else that I missed? Presumably, I don't know which one I did. It wasn't that one, or the one with the mermaid. So maybe I did the other one.
I think maybe the one that you went on where there are the little firebirds on the way to it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
The firebirds, the kind of rainbow bird things. Is that what they are? I don't know. There's so many weird demons in this thing. Which firebird?
Okay. It's like black with red flame around it.
I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar.
Okay. Maybe not.
Well, maybe I didn't do any of that.
It sounds like you just ran through this area.
I didn't. I ran through it a million times trying to figure out where to go. But apparently I think the abscesses are frustrating. Those ones in particular. Because like to me, and this is sort of like what we were talking about last time, the verticality of these spaces causes me a lot of problems.
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of like Xenoblade in a ways where you're like, I see where I'm supposed to go, but I can't get there by just going towards it. And so like the map's not giving me great indications of this verticality. There's a little bit, but it's hard to see, especially when there's an abscess. And I know that's somewhat intentional, or is intentional, but like maybe I'm alone and I'm just bumping up against this problem and everybody else is like, you're dumb, but I find that a little bit frustrating.
In this first area, I will say I did not run into that issue. In the second area, I'm experiencing that.
It's even more so there, the verticality, and like if you fall off, you gotta trudge back around and climb back up, and
or bounce back to your last ley line.
Yeah, or do that if you have a good one.
Got it. So it sounds like maybe you have just some more exploring to do in that area as well.
I do.
That's great.
But I did do the side quest where there's that demon and Oni, maybe.
Okay.
That's like, I want to help people and then like
He gets
nobody
angry
wants
when
help, and then he attack. Yeah. And that when I first switched to normal, that demon killed me.
classic Enneagram 2.
Yeah. And then so that was something I did.
Did you how was that fight for you?
I again, it was tough when it was on normal, but I think I might have accidentally beaten it on casual, not knowing. I don't know. Yeah. I'm a mess, apparently.
You're great.
This is making me feel like I'm a mess.
No, you're great.
I'm having fun, I swear.
Is that you swear you're having fun?
I am. I actually feel like I've gotten into a groove with it now.
Cool.
And like I'm kind of obsessed with demon fusion now.
For me, that's like one of the most fun parts of the game is collecting demons and mashing them together.
Yeah, totally. I'm really enjoying that. And then to the point where I do it at such a rapid clip that I don't even know who's in my party. I'm like, at least that's what I'm doing right now because I'm in this new area. And I think when you get to a new area and you start running into new demons, you're like, oh, I'm going to get all these, go to the ley line, see what I can fuse. Oh, I did that. Let me go get them again and then see what new things I can fuse with those ones. And you know what I mean? Like
collect them and make babies.
Mm-hmm.
I know that game. Yes, 100%. And that's, after we recorded our first episode, I'm going to be honest, I haven't gone back and listened to it, but I remember we talked about that one person's comment who was like, oh, I just collect them and I hold on to them. Yeah. I don't fuse them. Afterwards, after we recorded, I was like, was I too harsh in saying like you're missing out on? And once again, if that's how you want to play and you're having fun, blessings to you. For me, the fusion part is like such an essential part of both the gameplay, but also where I'm having a lot of fun as well.
So there's the special fusions. Right?
Yeah.
How does that work? Because I've done one to get the blue-haired pixie.
The high pixie.
And then I just unlocked a second one that I can't yet do because of a level limitation. But is the deal there you just pay money and that's how you fuse them? Or like, do you have to have things in your party or have had things? Because I feel like I don't have the things it says I have under that.
So most demons can be fused through multiple combinations, that there isn't just one special combination that will give you those fusions. Special demons, often you have to unlock through either a story beat or a side quest or some kind of special thing unlocks it. But then the second thing that makes it special is that it is just like these set 2 or 3 or however many demons, because it can be more than just 2 for the special, are always what is required to make that fusion. There's no other combinations that will create it.
Okay.
And then the reason why you're paying money is because you don't currently have that demon in your group, and it is bringing it out of your compendium. So you're paying to summon it and then mix it in.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Was there anything else about just the general area that you wanted to mention?
That's about it. I feel like this area, I feel like previously it had felt pretty linear, and then I feel like and in that linear structure, we were kind of taught that these abscesses were these roadblocks that you had to remove.
Yes.
I think this part of the game was teaching us you need to pursue these to take them out to get access to new is it blessings or
yes,
the new powers and
miracles.
That's right, to get new miracles, and that it's even if they're not on the track to the next story beat, you should still seek them out.
Yeah, I think you just pointed out why I assumed I would get to them, which was that like the previous ones you had to get through, and so I was like, I can't get to these the obvious way, so I'm just gonna follow what I think I'm supposed to do, and I know I'll get to them, but I never did. Yeah. So maybe then we go back to the story a little bit, or if there's any other side quests. But after Goko wanders off,
And
is it Goku?
it is Goku. It sounds weird, I think, because we want to say Goku, but it is Goku. So what's interesting to me about this as well is so you also meet your one student friend who has the sister at the train, and you have that brief conversation early on in the section, and then you see Goku, but it's like, where are these people hiding after the cutscene? You know what I mean? Like, where do they go?
They're going on the parts of the map we're not allowed to go to, I think. But yes, it is a little like, this is a big open space. We should be able to see where they were.
I think so too.
It shouldn't be that hard. Well, like around that same time, I ran into two angels that are sitting there at a path, right? And they're like, "Hey, we've got a quest for you to go get rid of the agents of chaos or something like that are around here, or some sort of thing like that." I don't remember the phrasing of it. But I ran into them, and I assumed that was a side quest, or I assumed that would maybe be the thing. Like, I think this is what I thought that meant. Go get rid of these abscesses.
Oh, I see.
But it didn't.
No, there's just a fight up on the nearby hill.
Eligor.
So, and here's a question. I think you can choose to fight the angels instead of him, but it sounds like you chose to fight him instead.
I didn't know I could choose to fight the angels.
So the angels give you a choice of go and do their bidding or tell them like, no, fuck off. I think you can fight them instead.
I didn't tell them to fuck off.
Got it.
I didn't realize that's what that meant. But that makes sense.
Listener, so I also fought him, but listener, if you know otherwise, let me know. But it feels a lot like kind of the side quests where you were able to choose, and some other ones as well. So I think you were able to do either fight, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so Eligor is this demon on a horse, and he's surrounded by, I think this is the first time you encounter or at least fight those owl-headed demons that stand with their arms crossed and then turn their heads.
And they're nudity, but they just got the little pubes down there.
Yeah, complete, just blank genitals.
And if you rotate them, they have little farmer tans on their butts.
Oh, really?
I don't know this from experience, obviously.
So yeah, I guess.
Also, I had one of those demons on my party before I got to this battle.
From Fusion, I guess.
From Fusion, and it was one of my favorite demons for a hot minute because it had high agility, so it would often be missed when attacked, and then it dealt status issues, and so I would throw down confusion, throw down some charms, poison people, all with this bird who was like dodging attacks left and right. So
nice.
Yep.
I think I'm trying to remember what team I was running around this time. I honestly don't remember. But I was, after this fight, I feel like I started finding a team. At this point, I feel like I still didn't know what I was doing, but I think it's the next boss fight where I really started to understand some of the stuff you were talking about, and like in terms of really paying attention to, status ailments, and also, really being smart about, like, I feel like the way I'm jumping ahead, but I feel like the way I beat, what's her name? Nua was using a lot of dampeners.
Yes, the items that give your whole party block against a particular elemental attack.
Yeah, I don't remember what elemental attack Nua was using, but whatever it was, like, I feel like it was force. Yes, it was force dampeners. So like I throw a force dampener up, and just it skips their turn. If I couldn't get like a good status ailment on them or something, I started to like try to time it to end with that, or
especially when they have their gauge going and the next round is going to be criticals. It's like, let's just block them, make their turn worthless.
And you can only carry 3 of those, but I didn't. I also think I thought I had this on normal, but maybe I was on casual here at this point. I don't remember when I figured it out, but like I thought I was going to die, and I just barely beat that boss, Nua.
And
we're jumping. I jumped ahead. We should probably, I guess there's not really much between.
No.
You basically go into the building, right? I mean, you can explore around the Tokyo Diet building after you beat Eligor, or presumably the angels.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a whole lot to explore in that area. Was
The,
there? There was maybe one or two little.
there were a few like items to get and conversations to have. The major thing I will point out is that there was the little cute. I have him in my party. Let me pull up his name real quick. His name is I'm butchering names.
Well, this is like a lot
Kiro
of
Nup.
Kiro Nup.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll say that.
He has like a little cute fox head and it looks like a
Oh.
little baby ghost body dangling out of it.
Yeah.
He's got a little bow and arrow. So he asks you about like if you give him money, he'll tell you something about the
Myman.
if you pay him the money,
I didn't because I was like, why am I going to pay this guy money?
I did not, but I looked it up online to see like why would I pay him money? The answer is all of the little Myman guys will get lit up on your map. He'll mark them for you.
That would be helpful
in that region. And so my understanding is that at the end of the area, you will find one of these little fellows who will make that offer to you.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what it meant, and I was like, I don't. Yeah, but now I think I will do that. I believe that this might be a spoiler, but maybe you don't care. I think there's 50 Myman in each area, as I understand it.
No, I did not know that.
I happened to see that when I was looking up something else.
Got it.
But so I guess you can use that to keep track. But I definitely did not find 50. I think in that first area I found maybe 20.
Okay, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
So the Nua fight for you. Well, so the dampeners helped.
Yeah. So I think I'm taking the approach like we talked about of like go into a boss fight. Obviously, it's great if I can win.
Yeah.
But really, just first one is reconnaissance. Snap a photo of their weaknesses. Use a spyglass. And so then I died, and then I went back, and I think I only died once, but it might have been twice actually. I might have had like an initial go in and didn't realize this was gonna like trigger a big boss fight immediately, and it did. And then so I was like, whoa. And then I went back in and kind of like tried to get harder. And then I maybe had a third one where I beat them sort of by the skin of my teeth, like 2 party members dead kind of a situation.
Yeah.
It was really like, probably gonna lose. That's fine. But then because she didn't like die.
And so that
kind of threw me off.
The fight, I think, also feels like, how am I going to win and insurmountable because you really only get her down to like a third of her health. But you get her below half a little bit and you're like, man, there's no way I'm getting her health bar all the way down. I'm just
going to give up here. I mean, glad I didn't give up, but I was kind of giving up in my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, this cutscene has begun, and now there's some weird other dude out here.
Yes.
Yeah. What? And there's some dialogue options there that I don't know what I don't know what the impact of them is.
I'm not sure if I don't think these are the major decision questions, but it does ask you if you believe in God's order or if you choose chaos. And I chose the third option, which was like, I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
It's like,
hey, wait, I don't want to commit to anything right now. I don't know anything about what's going on here. Yeah.
And real quick, because I want to talk about these story beats during the fight though. Did you end up using the guard option at all? Because I'm learning that the guard option is a lifesaver when timed correctly in some of these boss fights.
I could see that, but I think I prepared my team pretty well. And then I got away with timing out force dampeners really well, and I never guarded.
That's great
on that one, as I recall.
And I'm curious if that's also a difference of the difficulties.
I'm sure.
I feel like playing on hard.
Yeah, you probably need to guard more
often.
If not, I might be able to get away without it. I don't know. Maybe not though. I can see there being times when it might be useful.
Got it.
But I have yet to really do it except for occasionally, very occasionally.
Got it. So after the Nua fight, I'm sorry, now I'm going back to the story piece.
That's
great. Before they ask us who we want to side with, we also meet who Nua calls her partner or her other half.
Yes.
Is a human.
Yeah, which I didn't think they were human at first until later in the story they say that, right?
Yes.
Like somebody's like, and they had a human with them. I'm like, oh, really? I can't tell what's what in this world.
You're like, I have no clue.
Because some things look like humans and are demons and vice versa.
So, and this is a theme that will continue as the story continues, as we get the idea that humans and demons, there's a partnership of humans and demons. Even our little guide woman, who's like a little bird angel or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
She mentions that she's looking for her other half.
Oh, okay.
As we move into the going back to school part, another demon calls one of the students their other half or their partner, and so I'm curious. They're developing this idea that humans have eaten from the tree of knowledge. The demons have the tree of life, fruit or whatever in them, but not the tree of knowledge, and that is why God, big God, has been able to subjugate them, or rule over them. And so it is the unification of humans and demons that is kind of like taboo. So we as the Nahabino are this like taboo combination. That's not supposed to happen, but it sounds like these other demons are pursuing their human counterparts to become one whole being again.
Okay.
But then how does that work? Is it you were just born with a demon counterpart and that is true? Or is it like your soul alignment in this alignment system that exists in this world? Whatever demon is your match in that is your... I
don't know.
I realize that this is getting kind of
heady or whatever,
wormholey, but this is I'm curious to see how they explain it.
I'm confused, and this kind of ties into the next story beat. So when you go back to the again, I don't know whether we call this the real world or not because of what will happen shortly, but you go back to the normal Tokyo, presumably,
and say more about how they describe the relationship between the desert world we just left and the school world that we've re-entered.
It didn't make a lot of sense to me, but to be honest, like, I don't know that it just, I think that may just be the way it is. Like, yeah, you go, I guess you beat this Nuwa person, and I don't even remember, was there somebody come? How did you get transported? I think all of a sudden you're at this the research facility or whatever it's
both
called.
of your classmates show up, the nerdy guy with the glasses and then the like YouTube star or TikTok star and the
wannabe viral video
that's
guy.
right, and the yellow hoodie show up, and so yellow hoodie guy you had been looking for, so you find him, and your classmate catches up with you.
It's some sort of terminal,
or
something that takes you back. And there's the girl from the beginning of the game who is apparently like a saint.
A saint, or I think they even call her a prophet at some point. One of those. Yeah.
And that's weird. And
which also never didn't get explained in full detail. Later she joins your party and she heals up your allies after every battle. And so that's like her saint powers, I guess. But like...
yeah. Why all these things we'll never know probably, but and there's a really angry golden armored agent of Bethel or whatever that we briefly saw in a previous cutscene who's there and threatening you kind of, and this is where my question arises, because then you separate from the Aomi, that's the other half of the knob, Aogami, and the Aogami is like a robot. Because you're like, this is about humans and demons fusing together maybe to be some whole thing, but Aogami seems like a robot.
So, and we get that cutscene where he gets like rebooted and by his brother, who is also like maybe his twin brother, who is both the president of Japan.
They make a real big deal about how the prime minister is also the head of this organization,
Bethel.
Like, that's unprecedented. There's a lot of work to do just one, and it's like, well, maybe he should focus up on something because there's some serious problems.
And then, and he and Aogami do look very similar in the face, and no one says anything about it.
That's why I'm like, this is like a robot clone of that they purposefully make their faces, and because there's even a moment where they're like, his face looks really familiar, and I'm like, yeah, it's
obviously
because the Aogami is a robot of him, right, or something weird.
Well, and so here's my question: is that a lot of the order demons, which are really more like angels, take are metallic, and I think that's to show that like connection of order, that it can be kind of cold and heartless.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question is like, how does Aogami fit into, because does he just look metallic-y because he is a order demon and that's why he looks a little bit like a robot? But he clearly has this more humanoid face that is reflective of a real human we've met. So is he some kind of experiment of
Yes.
combining that did not go well?
Looks like an experiment to me, or feels like some sort of technological experiment is what the vibe I was getting.
Sure.
But not clear. And after this, it's kind of like, well, I guess just go back. So I guess they're like, you might be wondering what's going on. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, well, it turns out that's the real Tokyo that you were just in. And we're like in a simulation or something like that. Like we're in like this little pocket universe that we've created. I guess nobody travels outside of Tokyo in this pocket universe.
So this is my confusion too, is the Da'at world that we were in, that's the real world. The netherworld, is that the real world?
I think so.
And we are in this like grace pocket that like it says God was able to create to kind of shield some people from the reality.
Yeah, and like a fake version of Tokyo. It's how I took it.
It's like the Matrix. But well, so I think that it is kind of the interpretation it gave, but then I also got the interpretation that the netherworld is always the like spiritual shadow world, and that used to be more order oriented, and then it was taken over by the chaos.
Yeah,
but that there have always been these kind of human and spiritual world parallels.
Right. So what's going on outside of Tokyo?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know too. Like, there's a lot of emphasis on Tokyo, understandably, but like, is everywhere else just happy-go-lucky normal, or is there? It's confusing. It's confusing, and it doesn't matter. But it also is like weird choices that they're giving us these sort of like brush away explanations instead of, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't matter that much, but it's strange.
It's strange.
Yeah. And and the other thing that's then strange is like, well, I guess go back to your regular life tomorrow, you know, like
when you just learn that like your school might be an illusion.
Yeah,
by the grace of God, that you might not go insane.
Right.
It's just go about your daily life.
Yeah, go back to your studies.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go back to school, but then like immediately you get called, right? Am I right?
Not quite. Okay. So we go in and we see one of our classmates
that's right.
getting bullied.
Issa something or other. What was her name?
And this is a character we had not met previously.
Yeah, that's another thing that bothered me.
And we learn she's getting bullied because she, in sports, she kind of had a fall and was not doing well. She had to recover. And so when she came back to her sport, she like kind of went hard and had a really intense regiment. And the other athletes felt like they couldn't keep up with her. Lacrosse, that's right. The other lacrosse players felt intimidated by her new workout routine, and so they started bullying her.
Yeah. It felt like a shoehorned bullying story.
Yeah.
And also, this isn't just bullying. They were apparently like beating her up or something.
They were like,
it felt very violent, not just like,
yeah.
Like it felt like it could have just been like bullying in a different way, but it was also like they beat the snot out of her.
It was
like she's hiding bruises, and I know those can't all be falls.
Yeah.
Which is weird. The whole bullying thing was a little weird. And also, I kind of wish they had introduced this character at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because then I might have been more interested in them. It felt like a very rapid...
care about her.
Yeah, care about her. And then, she's going to go evil, which we're about to get to, right? Like,
yeah.
And also, it felt very telegraphed what was going to happen. I hear these demonic voices. Was that you? Oh, what? No, and it's like, okay.
Yep.
I know what's going to happen now.
Yep.
So, I mean, whatever.
And that's what I feel a little bit about the brevity of these things is like, I think they knew like we're just kind of playing tropes, so we don't have to play them hard. We just kind of go with it, and may or may not also come into play later because once again I haven't beat the second section that this is leading into. But our Saint character is like, once again, this character we've never seen. She and I are best friends, and so I also wonder if these two characters will end up being foils as our characters move forward, or if that relationship is not all that important.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think also it was around this time of wandering around the school that I'm like, this is a cool environment, but I can't do anything here. Yeah. And it felt very much like, I understand that this is Shin Megami Tensei and not Persona, but I do wish there was more
something.
It's like, it's almost like, it feels like a lot of, it's either just don't do this stuff or give me a little bit more of the like, you know, social talking to people, making choices, do some things that feel not related to the main story. Cause like, it just feels like I'm going here to trigger the next thing. Yeah. And there's this theoretically nice looking school environment and this overworld, and the overworld is terrible, by the way. You're just this little, like, I don't know, board game marker piece. And again, that's the same thing. I'm like, I wish you hadn't done that. And I could just be like, go to the temple, you know what I mean? And then appear there, because that, and you talk to other little board game markers, and none of the dialogue is useful.
So what I find interesting about your feelings around this is that in Shin Megami Tensei 4, which I played previously, this was much of the game, was navigating this map with this little meeple. And
it's a meeple, yeah.
It is a meeple. To a degree that I was like, this is crazy town. And I learned that this is kind of a staple of the Shin Megami Tensei. And I came to appreciate it later in the way that it works with 4, because you're essentially going from little dungeons to little dungeons later in the game on this overworld map. But it feels like they kept that format because it was something familiar to the SMT franchise. I feel like it doesn't serve its purpose here anymore.
No, and also it's not very navigable. Like, there's a lot of dead ends.
Yep.
And a lot of like, I just want to get to the damn school. Like, wait, is it? And I don't know this map very well, and they're kind of spread apart, and there's weird tunnels and things, you know what I mean? And it's like, why am I going on this to just walk over to the dormitory? It's just like, it's not very pretty. I don't know. Like, I that helps frame it, knowing that this kind of thing's in the previous ones, and I can see why it would be in older games, but it might be time for them to scrap that because it doesn't serve its purpose, it seems like.
And it also, like, they say go to such and such location and give you no indicator of where that might be on the map, so you just have to wander around and find it. And like you said, this kind of maze.
Yes.
Not my favorite part, for sure.
No. But eventually you go to the temple, right? Is that the next one?
Our good friend, Goko.
And then it's like, oh no, there's a demon coming out, right? And so you have to fight the Lamu?
You fight 3 other demons, or no, 4. I think just a group of random demons, and then Lamu breaks through after that fight. You have to fight him directly after, and I think it's another one where you get him down to like half or a third or whatever, and then it cuts.
And Lamu is an interesting design.
I like
weird. Yeah, like tentacles coming out of a fidget spinner is how I would describe it.
And with like gold teeth around the holes, kind of.
Yeah, I think it feels demonic.
Yeah,
like in a way that, or like, you know, sort of otherworldly demonic big. So I think it and it is also unsettling. That felt appropriate.
Yeah,
but weird. And also when that girl like steps inside of it is kind of a weird moment too.
I really like that, actually. That idea of like him being used as a transport.
Yeah,
kind of right in his mouth. One of his 3 mouths.
And also, the whole time I'm thinking, like, why does this demon need this girl? that felt a little bit ham-fisted, but maybe that thing you were talking about of like people or demons needing people makes a little bit more sense to me now.
So, and that's in the cutscene where she spoilers, you're already here, you know what's happening. Kills one of her bullies.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Brutal.
But he says to her, like, you are my partner. And if you command me to do this, I'll do it, and kind of like aligning their wills. And this is where I'm like, okay, so was this character always destined to be evil because when she was born, Lamu was her partner?
Or did the choices they make align them?
Correct. So I'm wondering about the theology of
are you predestined?
That's right. So I'm curious about that, and if he would always have sought her out and pressured her in this way, or if she sought him out and made the connection in some way. But so, and I'm curious if we will see, because I think this is where we might be going, is that she becomes like a evil Nahubino for a little while, where she is she and Lamu become a single being.
So we skipped over this, but after the first fight of Lamu, before you go back to the school then, and I found that to be a really frustrating experience as well.
Here's my question. Did you just run to find Lamu to fight as soon as possible, or did you go to all the corners and fight all the demons?
I went to all the corners, but not because I was trying to. Because I don't know, that it was a confusing map. And it's just long hallways to like stairwells. And I recognized towards the end, I was like, all right, I'm going to pour over this map. And I realized, you have to go up this specific stairway and then go over there to go up this specific, because there's cutoffs. But that just felt really like, for the first like 20 minutes of it, I was like, I am just running down the same hallways over and over again. And like, another thing where I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do, because I was triggering all these fights in these corners, is like, do I have to find all of these hidden demons and then that will trigger something, or do I need to go to a specific place? I didn't know, but I think I ended up fighting all of them because once I had done most of that, that's when I was like, okay, I gotta figure this out. Like, there's nothing for me here.
This is also where I wish I knew more under the hood, and maybe this will become apparent later, but I'm curious if it doesn't matter, or like I purposely sought out to make sure that I killed all the other demons, and I like some of the other demons were pretending to be students to trick me, but some were actively attacking students that you save that student. And I kind of wish that I got to Lamu and like, oh shit, I was too late because I took too many side steps, but also I got some kind of benefit because I did save more people than someone who just ran to him.
Right.
About maybe there is some kind of way that mattered, but it at least didn't feel immediately like it did at all.
It didn't feel like it, but I don't know. I unintentionally fought most, if not all of them. And I definitely found that map a little bit annoying too. I think in general, I find all the maps on this game a little bit frustrating. But I think like anything, I'm getting more used to it. And also I'm kind of like I like grindy. I like to grind anyway. So it's kind of not a big deal too. It's only a big deal when I'm like, I'm ready to move on and I can't figure it out.
So you like to kind of like camp in an area and do some battles and then like save and
or I just don't. Yeah. Or I just don't mind having a lot of random encounters because like I figure that's helping me, you know what I mean? Get stronger or whatever.
Fair.
And then that's pretty much it, right? That leads us up to after that.
She kills her.
They join up and fly off.
And they capture some other students as well.
So that's right. Your bespectacled colleague or whatever comes back and is like, several students were kidnapped, right? That's right. Also one story beat that we didn't talk about is, and maybe this doesn't happen because you run into the guy with the hat, the would-be viral video star.
Yeah.
and they're like, I'm not good at this. I'm not
because
cut out for this. And you have a dialogue option, which might not matter at all.
it doesn't.
Okay.
I did both because I died once. But yeah, he becomes a demon summoner just like you, and the glasses guy and viral video guy is like, I'm not cut out for this. Peace and blessings, and runs off.
Yeah, which feels like that was an interest. I was interested to know more about that. We'll see what happens there, but yeah. And then so a handful of students get abducted, and somebody even raises the question of why did they just abduct a few students and leave, which is nice because that question might get raised in a player's head if they didn't. And I don't know that we get the answer to that, but also to the extent that we do, that's probably next week.
I think we'll find that out next session.
Yeah. So I enjoyed going back to the real world or fake world or whatever of the school. I don't know what to call it. But I did find it a little clunky, like we talked about with the maps, and but it was nice returning to it, and I enjoyed fighting demons on that map, and so that was cool. I thought again, I would like sometimes I just wish there was a little more clarity on where to go or something, but I don't know. Like I said, I didn't mind just running into demons and grinding. Especially if we weren't doing this podcast and I didn't feel some sense of urgency to actually like get to the next story beat, I would be even less stressed about it probably.
I also like that they used that area to bring demon designs to us that we hadn't seen in the overworld, and at least through my fusions I had not encountered yet.
Yeah.
I can't say her name because it's wild, but the woman who is like half lizard and she's split in half and she has tongues coming out of both ends. She's smacking
a lot of N's and L's in that one, and
smacking her own ass. It's a very, very effective, I think, to run into her for the first time during this like kind of more cinematic transition scene.
Yeah, I like that demon. I actually did not like that demon the first time I saw them. I was like, gross. But they're presently in my party, I think.
Have you read the description for them?
Yeah, you know how like on the loading screens every once in a while it'll pop up with, or every time it'll pop up with a random demon and like their, you know, true cultural origins and all that. I read that one time.
Okay.
As quickly as I could. You know, sometimes you can't read the whole thing because then the game loads and it's like a chunky paragraph. But
yes, I really enjoyed that one. It looks like I just fused her, and so I don't have her in my. I'm pulling her up, but it's like she drinks fetuses out of pregnant women or something really gross. But also, it makes me love her even more. That if that tells you anything about me.
I guess here's a question, Austin. Are there any like tips or, you know, areas or things you should definitely consider in this area, either the first part of the Netherworld that you see or when you first come back? Like we kind of talked about some broader, you know, tips and how to play the game, but are there anything that you remember? Like I feel like
yes, some tips I would go back to is that your buffs and debuffs last 3 rounds and they can only stack twice. So just be strategic timing wise of when you're re-upping them.
Yeah. That's where I definitely started to like see some success is like, you know, lowering defenses, using a medium attack on that, you know, maybe somebody doesn't have the right skills for a person. It's like, but they have a lower defense. It's like, oh, you just keep lowering their defense. But I did kind of wonder how many times I should do that.
Yeah. And then something else I think is important is to keep in mind your demon's weaknesses or resistances or blocks. And honestly, that is more important than often their inherent skills, especially with the essence system. So if you have a really good mage that has the right blocks and resistances, you can give them the elemental magic that you need through essences and ultimately be able to hit the weaknesses with that. So I would almost say prioritize fusing for defensive positions, and then you can fill in what you need offensively with your essences.
This is jumping back a minute, but I pulled up Manananggal's lore, and they are a witch whose lore originated in the Philippines, and like masquerades during the day as a beautiful woman, and then yes, a blood-sucking monster at night, and yes, they like to open the wombs of pregnant women.
Read it all, Patrick.
Well, I'm skimming now, but like, and suck out the fetus's blood or devour it outright.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense design too, because it's like half of the body, just like the spinal cord is just like severed, and like not just severed, but like turned into this weird like
tongue
or tail looking thing. Yeah,
it's gnarly for sure.
It grew on me. Cool. Is there anything else that either specific to this area or any other sort of insights into the game for you?
I think that's it. I am going to lay the groundwork here, but I think it's something we can talk about more for this next section, is that as soon as you grasp, like, this is my strategy for the game, you will then make a fusion where you get the skill that's like, this is God mode overpowered compared to what I have seen. And then it's like, oh, I need this in order to progress. Like, this is
the difficulty
next
spikes
tier
to match it.
That's right, of skills that I need. And so you say like, oh, these single buffs and debuffs aren't going to cut it anymore. I need to be buffing my whole team with a turn. And like, so if you find yourself at the end of section 1 saying, I've mastered the combat and now I'm starting to get a little bored, I guess I'm encouraging you that more curveballs are on its way.
What's your approach to the miracles? Are you, as soon as you get whatever the amount of glory is, do you immediately go in, or do you try to hoard glory until you clear an abscess or two and then kind of pick and choose? Or are you like trying to get everyone, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like a lot of this stuff has, like, there's a whole section of the miracles that have to do with the Gatsui gauge, and I feel like I have kind of ignored those because I'm like, I don't know that I need my Gatsui gauge to fill up any faster than it already does. But maybe that's something you have to do more later too. I don't know.
It depends on if that's what you want to invest in. I will say that I have actually gotten quite a few of the miracles related to the gauge.
Do you feel like it fills rapidly now?
So I feel like it fills rapidly, but I've also uncovered, and maybe this is, you need to go back and pop those abscesses.
Oh yeah, I do.
But there's one where you gain each party member gains HP and MP at the end of a turn if your gauge is full. So your gauge serves you passively, even if you're not popping it in that moment. And so there become more reasons to invest in it that I have found compelling.
I see. That makes sense. I also, like, somebody on the Discord posted that there's a miracle that you can have demons use items.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to that one. I feel like that's a game changer.
Yes. And that's interesting, is that used to be like a skill, and so the fact that it is like hidden, or not hidden, but it is now unlocked in a different way is interesting to me. There's also ones where, like, if you talk to a demon that you're fighting that also happens to be a demon that you have in the party, they will heal you and then like send you on your way with blessings. And like so there are kind of different streams. There's the those, and then there's the more combat oriented, like upping your character's affinity, and that's where I have spent the least amount of points, is upping my Nahabino's affinities. And maybe I'm wrong.
Like the strong electric attack ones and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here, because I haven't really changed my Nahabino's attack from being electric, you know. I haven't really needed to, it's felt like, and so I'm like, why would I give them fire, ice? Why would I give them all those things if until I'm ready to actually commit to that? Yeah,
That's right. And I also feel like party expansion has also been a big priority.
I want as many demons as I can get. I wish the game let you have 2 of one kind.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, I don't know if I understand why they don't, because occasionally you'll have one in your party that you're using and they're readily capturable and readily usable to upgrade. But the one you have in your party is gained a few levels and you're like, I don't really want to use that one. I like them right now, but I want another one so I can fuse and make another. Not a big deal, but.
So I will also tell you this, because maybe this is something is good for me to teach. So if you have built a demon that you think like, this is a really strong build of this demon. Actually, I am gonna save this friend right here while I'm showing this to you. You can save it in your registry.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Or register it in your compendium. And so when you do summon from your compendium, it will be that version of with those skills and at that level.
Okay. I also don't think I knew you could summon demons like that. I've only been trying to talk to them.
And so then, see, it tells you like, oh, this guy who I just saved, my
that's the default one that you'll get now.
Yes, but now he costs 11,000 yen, which is expensive. But then there's others that 6,000,
right,
9,000.
I didn't realize you could do that, and I heard some people talking about paying for demons, but I was like, I guess that's the special fusion. But now I see that it's also that. Okay,
it's part of the compendium. Which, so then you were asking,
which I felt like was just like a, I don't know, like a museum or something. So I didn't look at it.
Got it. Kind of like a Pokédex more so.
Yes, that's what I thought it was.
So then that's when you're doing a special fusion, it can pull from your compendium, and that's why it's often very expensive.
That makes sense to me now.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah. Learn something new every episode. Yeah. Anything else before we call it?
That's it. I think we've covered some meaty goodness.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Even though this show is called Optimal Fusion, if you want to send us a note by email, you can reach us at optimalpairing@gmail.com. And you can also just reach out to us through the Super Switchheads Discord or Facebook group or that kind of thing too.
Thank you for listening, friends. Toodles.